Hello and welcome to We are here at Micro Center to talk about things.
So our wonderful sponsors at Micro Center have a wide selection of handheld gaming accessories, peripherals, PCs, consoles, you name it. So today we're gonna get to the brass tacks, my friends.
I love gaming handhelds. It's the thing I've been most excited about with tech for the past few years. I've tried almost every one of these.
Okay, I'm just gonna do it actually at random. It's the Analogue Pocket.
Ooh!
If you're unfamiliar, the Analogue Pocket is an FPGA-based Game Boy / portable player. The thing is, what makes the Analogue Pocket different? It's not really emulation, because it's an FPGA, which means that it's actually emulating the hardware.
It was really expensive when it first came out, and I think just being able to like, oh, here's a $200 Game Boy, that's a hard sell. But if it's a $200 Game Boy that you can play some of your ROMs on, that's
no.
Yeah.
If I want to play ROMs, I could go buy some freaking Anbernic or whatever. No.
We're arguing that it's a good thing. I'm trying to give it a better grade here. I'm giving that one a B.
Whoa,
So,
you're
like,
going with a B for the Pocket?
The hardware's really good.
Agreed.
But like, it's limited. My point is, at the end of the day, it's only a Game Boy and nothing else.
I actually am going to go C.
What?
I like it a lot, but we're talking about,
a B?
I would vote for C because while it's good, it's a little bit on the expensive side. It's been very difficult to get your hands on for years, and they recently released a limited edition colorway, which is like 3 times the price that everyone was very grumpy about.
Just know that I'm going to veto something you want later on. All right, next up we have Ayaneo Air. If you're not familiar with Ayaneo, they make about one of these a new handheld every 6 minutes. For this, the sake of this, is we broke down Ayaneo into like their core categories. This one is the Air, which is like their smaller, more efficient one.
I am not a massive fan of Ayaneo. They're certainly one of the pioneers in the PC space, but generally speaking, I found that while they're decent, they typically have something missing. Not in all cases. I would just say that, like, broadly speaking, a lot of these are, I would say at this point, getting outcompeted.
Because they're so expensive, because it takes all this money for R&D, which maybe if they just stopped making 12 new ones and just focused on a couple core ones. I'm giving the Air a D. Air for D. I dare you to give this a better grade.
I'm okay with D. I'm okay with D. Next up, the Razer Edge. Okay, the Razer Edge is an Android-powered tablet. It comes with the Kishi, if I recall correctly. It's pretty decent. If I recall, it was $400 at launch, and it was like $600 for the 5G version. It's not terrible.
Has a high refresh rate, but like nothing's taking advantage of that. Maybe if you're a hardcore PUBG mobile person, maybe this is for you. But for most people, just get the controller for your phone.
I want to like it.
No.
Something about it doesn't click. And I also remember the battery life was quite poor on it. I would go D.
Let's give it an R for Razer.
We only have F on the bottom of the
Oh,
list.
then give it a D.
Okay.
All right. Steam Deck. To be clear, this is the non-OLED. This is the original Steam Deck.
Buckle up, my friends, because this is where Austin gets spicy. The advantage with Steam Deck is that it's a little bit more of a console-like experience. You can still get the whole PC thing if you want. I will just freely say that I'm a quite big fan of Steam OS. You have the flexibility of like resuming from sleep without like having to restart your game.
It would be my S tier if other things hadn't come out. Used market, like they're dirt cheap. A lot of people had gone with like the base 64 gig model, and then they upgraded it really cheap.
And you can get upgrades for your SSD here at our fine sponsors, Micro Center, who have a wide variety of all kinds of handhelds, upgrades for your handhelds, and even, Matt, I was told that there's a brand new Micro Center opening in Miami, Florida. Can you imagine that? In fact, it might even be open by the time you're watching this video. I'll let you start. Where do you want to put the regular original Steam Deck?
Like I said, this would have been an S maybe like 2 years ago.
Sure.
I just think there's a lot better options now. I'm going to take some flack for this one.
You are.
For the regular Steam Deck,
Yeah.
I'm going B.
Can I ask you a question
Yeah.
on the definition of what we're doing right now for the tier list? Are we choosing the best?
I'm
the
choosing
most
what
recommended?
I'm ranking. I'm taking in versatility. I'm taking in feelability.
Verisimilitude?
You know I love a good hand feel. I'm giving it a B. All
Okay,
right.
I think it's my turn. It's my turn.
Yeah, you did like 6 of them.
Legion, go. The first one that we actually have on the desk, which of course you can purchase from your friendly local Micro Center.
Matt's time to shine. This is my S tier. If there was a higher S, I'd go for that.
SS?
I don't think it's the most powerful. I don't think it's the best price. I think it's the best overall package out of anything. It's got a big screen, but it's got a solid kickstand on the back of it. So you have a really solid gaming device that's super portable. I have found for the games I play, Legion Go has the most versatility of that.
I also like the Legion Go. I also did a video where I built a little gaming setup with it from Micro Center, and we put it in the backpack and the whole thing. I'm gonna have to argue with you on the S tier. I like the Legion Go a lot. The battery life is fine, but it is not the biggest of the handhelds, even though it is the physically largest. The screen is decent, but not amazing. But my biggest gripe is that I really dislike the way that you attach the controllers.
Okay.
First time I tried a Legion Go, very, very many moons ago, my immediate reaction was, that doesn't feel good. Even though it's nice to have the flexibility of removing the controllers, the problem then, it incorporates just a little bit of flex, right? Like as you're gaming, I find that like I feel a little bit of wiggliness, and I don't like that. It removes the feel. Like it doesn't feel as solid as something like the Ally or the Steam Deck. As much as I like the Legion Go, I would actually vote for this to be A tier. I think it's really good. I can't get behind it being the absolute overall best one here. I can't do that. Really?
Oh, we're not playing rock, paper, scissors. I'm threatening to punch you if you don't put this in S tier.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You just saved yourself getting punched, my friend. Legion, go get yourself one at Micro Center.
No, you just thrown the gauntlet down, my friend.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick the next one? And I'm going to argue. Whatever you pick, I'm going to tell you it's dumb and bad.
I think this PS Portal is an
What?
A
The Portal's
tier.
here?
This is the best one.
We've talked about the Portal before. In fact, I think it was actually in our PlayStation tier list. I don't think there's much of a conversation about this. Unlike every other handheld here, the Portal is purely a remote play device.
Just like me, it's an empty shell inside. It's pretty on the outside.
And it loves cloud gaming.
But empty in the inside.
If I'm spending $200 on a handheld, I'm going to buy a Switch Lite, which can game. I don't need to have a laggy connection to my PS5 to get some kind of signal.
The only reason people buy the PS Portal is so they could play FIFA while pooping.
Let's do this guy. The Ayaneo Slide. I will admit, I have not actually used this. So this is going to be a little more of a speculative conversation. What you're getting here is something that's meant to be a little bit more usable as an actual PC. So once you slide the actual screen up, you've got yourself a full keyboard.
It's fun. It's kind of like
fun.
the GPD. I'm okay with a big girthy handheld. I know they're supposed to be like portable, but like I want to use it like on the couch or in bed. The reason I want to include like the flip in here and the slide, this is where I think Ayaneo shines. I don't think they're gonna be able to compete with like a normal Steam Deck or whatever.
I agree.
It's unique. It's like a form factor that you can't get somewhere else.
If I'm not gonna buy an Ally or Legion Go or Steam Deck or something, if I'm gonna go for a little bit more of an unusual choice, I want it to be functionally and practically different.
Yeah.
I still feel like this is lower tier.
The problem is they're still really expensive. So
Yeah. I
like,
lean a little bit toward D.
just on the promise of the DS that's coming out alone, I'm giving it a C. I said I was kind of doing like the categories of Ayaneo, and I'm calling this their wonky category.
Okay, so if we just take this, not the slides, to Ayaneos that are kind of weird. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anbernic.
So Anbernic make a number of different devices. I usually think about Anbernics, and when it comes to running something like, like RetroArch, they're obviously not incredibly powerful, but if you want a little emulator, Anbernics are typically my go-to. It's also sometimes hard to get your hands on Anbernics because they're often sold out, so you have to go to like AliExpress or whatever. It's a little bit difficult.
For like $100 with what you get out of these things, these are really solid. The screens are decent. You're not getting one of these because you want to play a AAA game, but like your bang for your buck for this, I think this brings this actually pretty high up.
I agree.
I would say like C.
I would vote, it's not Steam Deck good, I'd say C.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. Well, why don't we go with something a little bit more spicy, which is
Your phone. Not everyone needs to have a dedicated device for this. Apple, if you have the newest iPhones, are getting AAA titles natively on device.
I think the phone actually deserves a real consideration when you're thinking about handheld gaming, because obviously it's a device that is always with you. Now, yes, there's certainly trade-offs when it comes to thermals. Now, of course, you can get accessories to improve that performance. On the main channel, we recently did a video on the Red Magic, which is a gaming-specific phone with like RGB and a fan and stuff, and I was not particularly impressed with that, but it did really kind of open my eyes to, you know what, if you slap a cooler on, any modern flagship phone will actually give you really solid performance. If you're willing to take the phone and bring an accessory or two with you, the phone becomes very competitive, but you're still gonna be limited in the kind of games. Like if you wanna play your Raid Shadow Legends, cool, great, have fun. But if you wanna play more of those AAA games, I actually would vote for the phone to be pretty high. Yeah. I'm not gonna go as high as A. I think a very solid B. Like you have different games, but not necessarily the same kind of games I might want to play.
You can get
on
GTA
on
your phone.
GTA 3 from 20 years ago.
The best one. I'll give you B. All right. Next up, we got Ayaneo Next. I will say that like as much as I love a good heft, This one felt empty.
This is, I
thing.
think, what we were talking about when it comes to Ayaneo. Like, they excel when they're doing the weirder, more unique designs. When they're trying to go head-to-head at a higher price point than the more established players, I feel like that is not going to work.
This is like a Steam Deck that got stung by bees, and it's just kind of puffy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a D.
I would almost go F, if I'm honest.
Well, I think there's worse things on here.
You know what? It's hard to be a Portal. Let's get spicy, man.
ROG Ally, the original.
The original Ally was not perfect. It certainly had some issues at launch, but they have done a lot to fix that. I would say that the Ally today is a very improved proposition compared to where it was, and the prices, especially at your friendly local Micro Center, are very reasonable for the Ally. I like the Ally a lot. Is it perfect? No. Is the Ally X a better handheld? Yes, but if you can get an Ally for the right price, there's a lot going for it. It's got the performance. The main downsides would be battery life at this point is kind of poor because it's only a 40 watt-hour battery, which is a little bit small. And the fact that while it's decent, it's certainly not quite as ergonomic as some of the other handhelds. In fact, specifically the Ally X feels significantly nicer in the hand. So I would go with B.
I would give you B. I would actually.
B feels fair.
I'm agreeing with you on that. Knowing what's coming next. So I'm just going to jump ahead to the ROG Ally X.
I like the Ally X a lot. You've got the performance of the Z1 Extreme. You've got the same decent display of the Ally, but importantly, everything else is significantly improved. They literally doubled the size of the battery. It's only just a little bit heavier. They've got better cooling. There's so many things when it comes to the Ally X that I feel like, and in my opinion is, if we're throwing value out the window, the best Windows handheld you can buy. Admittedly, it is also probably the most expensive. I would actually say that if you want the very best Windows powered handheld, you should buy yourself an ROG Ally X. What are your downsides besides the fact that it is a little bit on the pricey side? If you're going to try to argue value,
this is a really good device.
Okay, so if you want to argue the value side, the Legion Go is typically less expensive than the Ally X.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact prices, but like typically you're saving
and
some
more
money there.
versatile.
And it is more versatile. I agree with that.
So by definition,
but that versatility comes with a cost. I think that it's a more reasonable size.
I would give you A for this. You think you're gonna jump up 2 notches from a B to an S?
Matt is just gonna upset everyone today. You know, he's upset everyone around us. He's upset me.
Fine, I'll give you S. I'll give you S.
No, you know what? It's actually an A. I wasn't gonna go all the way S.
Look, if you're gonna try and take me down on a tier list, you better be ready to go all the way because I am ready to eat you.
Do you want to talk about some bad console? Do you want to talk about something that's dumb and silly? What's that?
The Switch. The Switch. Stop buying Switches. I'll give it a C. I'll be nice.
I'll give you probably shouldn't buy a Switch right now. Probably not a good idea. The upcoming Switch is very, very much coming soon.
You're buying another Switch right now because your other one had Joy-Con drift. Fine. C for can we move on? Because now I know you're going to do this one. Oh, wait. Steam Deck OLED.
So can I just give you the quick sales pitch on why the OLED is better than the regular Steam Deck? So you've got an OLED display, also got a slightly larger battery, and what you're getting here is a console that is really like a console. SteamOS is just nicer to use than Windows. Is it a little bit less flexible? Yes, of course, absolutely. I will give you that. But then your freaking Wi-Fi driver decides to uninstall itself, and then you can't use your thing, or the touchscreen doesn't work. There are a lot of problems when it comes to Windows that the Steam Deck largely avoids. A+++.
No, I give it a B+.
The
It's
Steam
not
Deck
that
OLED
much better.
is honestly my favorite way to play.
Most people, I think should just get a Steam Deck over a Steam Deck OLED.
The nicer display makes a big difference, if I'm honest with you. And the fact that it runs at 90 hertz. The Steam Deck OLED is phenomenal to use. Right there with the Ally X.
I would have put it like right there.
These are my top tiers.
The Logitech G Cloud.
The phone you have is almost definitely significantly more powerful, which really limits it, because if I want an Android dedicated handheld, I want it to be able to do more. Like, it's nice that it runs full Android and blah, 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 but like, yes, it technically does, but there's not that many things you can do with it. I would put it right there with the Portal, in my opinion.
I am.
It doesn't make that much
put
sense.
it slightly higher than the Portal, but not much.
Yeah. Playdate.
Playdate.
This is a lovely, quirky little handheld that only plays Playdate specific games.
Yep.
It has a lovely little way to like crank your little wheel. The thing is though, the Playdate, it's a novelty. It's cute. It's fun.
This is more of a joke that we put on here. These graphics are better than most
How dare
Nintendo
you.
Switch games.
How dare you? They're very Game
And-
Boy-like graphics. I like the Playdate, but I can't argue it for any more than like D.
I think
It's cute. It's nice.
I'll give it a D instead of an F because they actually supported it and like they kept coming out with games for it and stuff like that.
What's the last one, Matt?
I have to defer. You get to do the last one all by your lonesome.
The MSI Claw.
I have never touched an MSI Claw.
Congratulations, you got touched an MSI Claw. When everyone is zigging, do you really want to zag? If all your friends were doing questionable things, would you do questionable things too, even if they're totally reasonable, like going to college and getting a job and having a successful life? No. The MSI Claw is the handheld for those who don't want to conform. You don't want to use a regular handheld with the exact same chip as everything else. You want a little excitement. You want a little spice in your life. You want something that's gonna really stand out. The MSI Claw is powered by an Intel Core Ultra processor, which, as we've established, that doesn't have Ultra in the name, therefore invalid. If you really want to embrace the Intel Core Ultra life, it's a little bit unusual. It's not going to be, you're not going to get the exact same performance across the board. Like, obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a different sort of chip, but it has potential. It's a solid option. And again, much like a lot of these, it is going to be a little bit dependent on price. I think the Claw is decent. I'm not going to rank it super highly because it's not necessarily my favorite of the handhelds, but I'm doing my best to be fair.
You should just be going and getting a Legion Go at your nearest Micro Center. This is your back-to-school PC. This is your gaming PC. All the cuties on the playground are going to be like, yo, what are you playing with over there? And you'd be like, it's Legion Go. Let us know what your favorite handheld is. Let us know your tier list. S tier, it's Legion Go. Like, follow, subscribe. Go to your nearest Micro Center.
Including the one in Miami. All I'll say is, if the Switch Lite was on here, y'all all would be going home crying.
I'm going home crying because I got my Legion Go.
Legion Go make a better decision.
Hello and welcome to this is the Sponsors Micro Center. Yeah!